We'll resume the hearing. Next member, Mr. Michael Tian. Chairman, now about this whole incident, I think the crux of the matter is the 22nd of November 2013 when the government attended the electrical meeting, and the changes happened 6 months later. Had it to do with ineffective supervision, or had it to do with force majeure? That is, we don't know what we don't know. And this is also the objective of this select committee. I have two background questions, for the PGE. That is, from January to November 2013, how many times, Mr. Chan, did you inspect the site? Who are you directing this question to, Mr. Chan? I mean the West Kowloon terminus. I did not record in particular how many times, but you did go there. Of course I did. 2 times, 3 times, more than a few times. And then on the 21st of November 2013, there was an urgent meeting in the evening. Was there any representatives from Jacobs? No. Now you explained that the MTRCL is the checker, and you check the checker. So I want to know whether you're indeed checking the checker, or that you just trust the checker. I need to know your relations with Jacobs. Now, I understand that the Transport and Housing Bureau only takes care of general matters, and that it relies on the Highways Department, and in turn the Highways Department relies on the Railway Development Office. So if you believe that you check the checker instead of trust the checker, you will have to rely on Jacobs. Jacobs told you before that there would be a potential delay of 11 months. So at the urgent meeting on the 21st of November, you, I suppose, were the only representative from the RDO, is that right? You were the only official representing the RDO at that meeting. Also the Director of Highways. I know, but I'm talking about PGE RDO. So you check the checker, and yet you mentioned that it is difficult for you to check the MTRCL, and that's why you also commissioned a consultant. So why didn't you ask the representative of Jacobs to the meeting? And at the meeting lasting 2 to 3 hours, you were finally convinced by them. And just now you said that you could not alone check the work of the MTRCL. So why didn't you bring a representative of Jacobs there? It was an urgent meeting between the THB and the MTRCL. We did not find it necessary to bring along any representative from Jacobs. I'm sorry, Chairman, but to be frank, this is quite unacceptable. So PGE, you are admitting that you don't have the professional knowledge to check whether the MTRCL has done everything it says it would, and that is why you have commissioned the consultant, Jacobs. And Jacobs earlier already told you that if no measure is implemented, there could be a potential delay of 11 months. So you should have brought along a representative from Jacobs to check their progress. And you said you did not find it necessary to do so. But in that case, you should have been able to check the work of MTRCL yourselves, and yet, on the contrary, you said you do not have the professional knowledge. So, do you admit that it is negligence on your part that you failed to bring a Jacobs representative to the meeting? So that is, say, a doctor advised me to undergo a surgery, and I asked for a second opinion, and another doctor said that it isn't necessary. So you need to have another piece of advice. Is that right? Mr. Chen, at that meeting, there was no mentioning that the MTRCL would not be able to complete its work in 2015. I mean, we did not rule out this possibility because the MTRCL relied on DRMs to catch up with the progress. Now, the MTRCL, as the owner of the as the owner in the contract, they have the means to give additional resources to the contractor. They have the power to urge the contractor to do more to catch up with the progress. So in hindsight, do you still think that there is nothing wrong in not bringing any representative from Jacobs to the meeting, or do you admit that there is a negligence? Well, as mentioned by the Director of Highways at the meeting on the 24th of March or the 21st of April, well, please stop quoting from the Director. Please give the answer yourself. In hindsight, do you admit that there was negligence? Yes or no? At that time, we did not exclude the Well, in hindsight, do you agree that you omitted it? Well, in hindsight, it did occur to us that we could have asked the Jacobs to conduct an assessment based on the limited information it has. But after that urgent meeting the following day, you were supposed to attend the meeting, and you were supposed to tell your superior what your position should be. I don't quite understand how you would be able to tell Jacobs what you thought then. That is my opinion in hindsight. So, what did the MTRCL say at that meeting, such that you reported to the THB that you were confident that they could catch up with the progress? And in particular, it was November 2013, and you knew then that there were 85,000 cubic meters of granite to be blasted or to be drilled. So why would you think that the works could be completed in just a few months' time? And there was no mentioning of the canopy. Did the consultant say anything about the canopy? Because now the canopy seems to be the biggest problem. Mr. Chen, to answer Mr. Tian's question, the MPRCL expressed that if they told the contractor at such an early stage that works would not be completed in 2015, but in 2016, they would not have the bargaining power to tell the contractor to complete their work on time. They were worried that their effort might be relaxed. Well, it seems that at that meeting in the evening, everybody already knew that it was difficult to catch up with the progress, and yet if the contractor was told that there would be no way to urge the contractor. So what was said that evening that made you believe that the 85,000 cubic meters of granite could be drilled in 6 months' time? Well, granite was not mentioned that evening, I recall, not the canopy. But so the granite or the canopy was not mentioned. We're not talking about the tunnel. So neither of these were mentioned. Jacobs talked about the steel structure and the granite, but then we had to have faith in the capability of the MTLCL's project team to complete the project. What's more important is that we learn about the close relationship between the contractor and the MTLCL. We know that there are sufficient resources. So at that time, the word canopy was not yet mentioned. It wasn't mentioned throughout the evening? No. So it seems that this outstanding issue was never mentioned that evening. Did Jacob say anything about the canopy? Yes, it did. But I think the problem of canopy only appeared due to changes as that happened as the matter evolved. So it wasn't mentioned, and Jacobs did not mention that if works on the canopy not yet started by November 2013, it would be impossible to complete works in 2015.
Did they mention that? As for the 11 months delay, it was according to July 2013, what they've seen, and also the information obtained at the meetings. They didn't mention the canopy, did they? Yes, they did. Now, if they did, then at the meeting for the whole night, not a word had been mentioned on the canopy. Maybe Mr. Tian, you give him the chance to answer your question. Now, the Jacobs did mention the canopy, but the main issue is that with regard to the fabrication of the canopy and with regard to installation, there is a delay. But that is something happened subsequently. At the meeting in November 2013, it was not mentioned, according to my recollections. Okay, I finished my questions. Ms. Claudia Mo.
Thank you, Chairman.
Whether it's according to the documents or whether it's according to their answers, we can have two conclusions. They blame, maybe we don't use the word blame, they give the reason. One is that the MTLCL has reserved certain or has kept certain information. So this is something the MTLCL has concealed. Now, even the highways, the MTLCL is just indifference to the urging of the Highways Department. So you just refer to the indifference of the Highways Department or of the MTLCL, the indifference of the MTLCL, and also the inadequacy of the information. So your urging is not effective, and the system, therefore, is at fault. Is my understanding correct? Yes, Chairman, to answer Ms. Claudia Mo's question concerning the keeping of certain critical information, we are only aware of that from the IBC Independent Board Committee. I think it is for you to make a decision. Did they give you the reason for keeping the information? I do not guess. Did they explain that to you, the reasons for that? We only knew that in 2014. Now, after you have known that. After you knew that, did they give any reason for that, or did you ask them? Well, they didn't give any reason for that. Please go on. In fact, on the second question, with regard to the implementation of the express rail project, it is the first time the concession approach has been adopted. And it's also the first time to use an entrustment agreement. As for monitoring the project manager, we believe there is a need to conduct a review. Therefore, we employed Deloitte to come up with a monitoring system. After the setting up of the system, which is the check-the-checker approach, in the Highways Department, the RDO of the Highways Department, a small team, was set up basing on the Lloyd's mechanism to conduct the monitoring. That was put down in the system. In the future, if there are new railway projects which adopts a concession approach, is there any need to review the checker system? We can accept that. In 2013, the MTRCL proposed the partial opening, and then after half a year, the contractor said that it was not possible for the WKT. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just to exchange information. Now you said that the MTRCL asked the contractors on partial commissioning, partial opening. The contractors said that couldn't be done. You do not approach the contractors because there is no contractual relationship. But you are doing the supervision on a higher level. How can you say, I asked them to ask the contractor if they ask late, if they are unable to obtain information, that is not your responsibility. I think this is problematic. You cannot just say this, and you cannot just tie in with this. You are just doing an indirect role. It is purely indirect. And therefore, you don't have any important responsibility. You just say a few words, give some comments, give some advice. So is there any oversight here? Now, with regard to designing the monitoring system, is there any problem? We should conduct a review. With regard to the supervision, whether or monitoring, whether should be any comment on the MTRCL and what should have been done. I think the independent expert panel also commented on a measurement of performance of the MTRCL, whether there should be measurement standards. This is a kind of indirect monitoring. The independent expert panels propose an overall development strategy statement. And we accept this view. In the future, in implementing a new project, by adopting a concession approach, we should consider this direction. Whether there should be an overall statement to set out the measurement standards and duties and responsibilities. With regard to measuring yardstick or measuring standards, you have agreed that it's necessary. Now, your number of site visits is not the measurement of efforts devoted. Just like having more meetings in this council may not mean that you are the most diligent member in this council. It's nonsense. Now, with regard to measurement or yardstick, the whole express rail, with regard to the whole express rail, the Highways Department is a controller, and you are the PGERD. Now, as for Director of Highways, in principle, he is the person ultimately responsible. He has to watch over that. But if you are the director and you are responsible for the railway, therefore I trust you. Now, if you say this, according to what you say, with regard to the controller, is there any big mistake? Well, I'm not asking you whether you admit that you are guilty or not, but with regard to the monitoring of the express rail project, the RDO under the Highways Department, according to a scale of 1,000 points, you just give advice, you give comments, you just urge the MTRCL. What is the weight, percentage weighting for monitoring? Will it be 30%? Will it be up to 30%? It's hard to answer Ms. Mo's question. Answering a single number, answering with a single number to the weight of monitoring is not appropriate. But you should have a sort of feeling. Now, when you do something, you know your role, how much weight. Well, if nobody cares, less than 10%. Or maybe the weighting is very important. The Highways Department is responsible for more than 50% because we represent the government in monitoring this huge project. This project is monumental. You can just say that I just say a few words if there is anything for me to say. Would that be more than 50%? Well, it's the same answer. It's not appropriate to give a simple number in response. Okay, my last question. Just now, Mr. Chen said that there were many unforeseen conditions in the project. Everybody knows this. The ground condition of the WKT is the issue. As a non-professional, I know that it is really unforeseen. Do you think this is not the problem of this term of the government? This is the problem of the previous term's government. It was too hasty. It made the decision without the geological report. It's hard to criticize the government the previous term, but do you agree with this view? And finally, the hard ground conditions of the WKT blasting is required. Is it a disaster, a natural disaster? Was there adequate investigation before embarking on the project? With regard to the site investigation, WKT, the advanced works in respect of the site investigation, they had 600 boreholes. They had quite a lot of knowledge about the geological situation. This is a big site. With regard to the ground conditions, there may be differences on different parts of the site. In the past, we had when we had big projects, we know that the accuracy of the forecast is very difficult. Next, Mr. Chang Hang-pan. Chairman, in the previous session, someone said somebody was not willing to attend the meeting. Someone refused to attend the meeting. I'm concerned about what sort of message that had been sent across, and what sort of message that had been sent across the witness. Chairman, we need to put that on record, and we had to deal with it. We have to deal with it later.
Just now, when the two officials answered members' questions, it was mentioned that your office has a small establishment, contrary to the MTRCL. So, do you feel helpless in monitoring MTRCL because of a difference in manpower? And because the MTRCL has not provided full information to you, is it because of the sense of helplessness that you find yourself encountering difficulties in requesting the MTRCL to provide information to you? Mr. Chan, followed by Mr. Tam. Now, to answer Mr. Chan's question on whether we feel helpless because of a small establishment size, the MTRCL has a large project team with over 40 contracts, and they have an establishment of 900, so in terms of backup, they are very adequate. We have a small project team, on the contrary, comprising around 10 or so staff members. But it is about establishment of a mechanism. In this indirect monitoring approach, we set down this mechanism and incorporate it in the entrustment agreement, and we don't find ourselves feeling helpless. But you don't monitor or supervise the MTRCL directly. You only do so indirectly. Do you feel that you're being ignored because you ask for information and they refuse to give you information, and they also dragged on their feet? Well, but the MTRCL has been cooperative. Whenever we ask for information, they accede to our requests. However, for the paragraph 3.18 that I mentioned, the information had to do with the procedure. So it isn't the case that the MTRCL has ignored our request for more information. So you need to check the checker. I want to know how frequent you have meetings with them. And what about the M&V consultant? You have a small team. Do you think the M&V consultant can actually get accurate information on the progress? The M&V consultant would conduct monthly site inspection with our team, from which they get progress from which they get progress of the works, and we also have team members jotting down the various works progress, which would be used to compile a real-time report. And the M&V consultant and our colleagues would also attend meetings. And every month we also have a CRM with the M&V consultant, which would submit a report to the Highways Department. So the M&V consultant could meet our requirements in general. In other words, you think that the M&V consultant has had accurate information regarding progress of the works, and that the government understands that there will be a delay. The information collected is used to compile a report, and based on the information in the report and the information provided by the M&V consultant and also report at the meetings, we understand that the MTRCL is experiencing serious delay in this project. However, we have appropriately demanded the MTRCL to implement DRMs so that they could catch up with the timetable. However, this morning, when members asked about the DRMs or progress in implementing DRMs, the progress has been slow and there is still ongoing delays. What is the MNV's assessment? The MNV's assessment is that there is a delay, and after implementing DRMs, it will be incorporated into the program. But after implementing the DRMs, were there other unforeseen circumstances causing further delays of the project? I would say that it was possible. What I mean is, when the MNV found that the DRMs implemented were not quite effective, and then unexpected or unforeseen circumstances occurred after DRMs were implemented, causing further delay, I don't think this is a reasonable argument. So did the MNV find that the DRMs implemented were not effective and inform you of such, and that the situation was not very satisfactory? Now, if the MNV found that there was other progress issues at the site, they would compile a report for our information so that we could follow up with the MTLCL. So after implementing DRMs, if problems were identified, we would still follow up with the MTLCL. So after following up with the MTLCL, did you find the situation improved? And subsequently, would it affect how you report or the recommendations made to the Bureau Director or the progress? Well, sometimes at the MTLCL meetings, they reported to us that it helped in urging the contractor to catch up with the progress. I want to supplement that in para 3.16 of the IEP's report, it was admitted that the MTLCL had effectively urged the contractor to catch up with the progress, and the DRMs have been effective. It wasn't the case that the DRMs were ineffective at all. For example, in the paragraph, one of the DRMs was to procure another TBM, and in the Namchang site, after implementing the DRM, much of the delay was recovered. There were other DRMs implemented. And after implementing the DRMs, they become part of the revised program. So another question. We're talking about an 11-month delay already, even after implementing DRMs. And your assessment was that the DRMs could help catch up with the 11-month delay, such that on the 24th of May 2013, you still reported to the Secretary for Transport and Housing that you would be able to complete the project in time. At the subcommittee meeting held on the 24th of May 2013, at that time, the delay of 7 or 11 months was still not identified. Well, as I understand, in para 4.11 of the IEP's report, it was said that the Jacobs, the consultant, had identified a 7 months delay, and if nothing was done by the contractor, there would be a potential delay of 11 months. So, as of the 24th of May 2013, at the meeting, when the meeting took place, the 11 or 7 month delay issue had not occurred. So, according to your understanding, could the DRMs catch up with the progress? That was May 2013. It was still some 2 years away from the completion date in the end of 2015. Having heard the explanation from the MTLCL, we believe that they could still catch up with the progress, and we raised no objection, having completed our part. Did the M&V consultant give you any advice? I'll ask Mr. Tam to supplement. On the 7th of May, after it was announced in the news that there would be a delay, the Highways Department and the THB expressed concern, and on the 8th of May, the Highways Department and the M&V consultant was also present on the occasion. The MTLCL proposed some DRMs to us. And at that time, it was understood that there would be a delay for the West Kowloon terminus and an incident on the northern side, and the suggestion was to procure another TRM, another machine to lay tracks and as one of the DRMs to catch up with the progress, and we raised no objection. Seeing that there was no objection, the proposal was then submitted by the MTLCL to buy another machine. So in May 2013, our judgment was that according to the DRM proposed by the MTLCL, we should be able to recover the delay. You believe that it was possible to recover the delay of 7 months. Well, at that time, not as long as 7 months. We're talking about July 2013, that happened in May 2013. I mean, the M&V consultant told you that you could recover the delay. Well, let's say recover half of the period of delay, just 3.5 months instead of 7 months. Well, answer Mr. Chan's question, please. Your M&V consultant told you that you could recover the delay? Well, it wasn't mentioned in the M&V report, but according to the DRM proposed by the MTLCL, the M&V consultant did not raise any objection. The M&V found it feasible. Next, Mr. Frankie Yik. Mr. Chan, in para 38 of the statement, I'd like to clarify your statement. When considering whether to implement DRMs, the MTLCL would comprehensively consider whether implementing the the DRMs would be cost effective. Does it mean that implementing DRMs, if implementing DRMs would be more cost effective, then the MTLCL would, that the delay would be more more cost effective? How would you going to follow up on it? The MTLCL has been implementing DRMs, and we have been urging the MTLCL that the DRMs should be able to recover the delay as much as possible. However, if they fail to recover the delay, then there would be a postponement of the completion date or delay of works, and there would be a prolongation cost. That is, the contractor can make a claim against the government, so we should assess and compare whether it would be more cost effective to implement DRMs than to pay for the claim against prolongation costs. So, did you ever raise any objection? We did not think that the MTLCL was trying to push back completion date.
They had been implementing DRMs in order to catch up. My question is, did you ever oppose any prolongation of the any one of the 40 projects because of cost, or you have no way to object because it's not implemented by you? Mr. Chen, as I've said earlier, the report of the IEP pointed out that in terms of implementing the project under the concession approach and indirect monitoring approach or check-the-checker approach, there is no intervention mechanism. We cannot say that it is not possible and therefore we should intervene. Now there is an internal review. Now we adopt an indirect approach of checking the checker. We have no intervention mechanism. If there is any intervention, there will be uncertainty in responsibilities. I've heard your explanation, the PGE, in the process concerning their proposals. You might have doubts and you might have counter proposals, but because of the mechanism, you have no way to intervene or to get involved. Now, the intervention mechanism is not put down in the present system. There will be uncertainty in responsibilities. Chairman, I do not want to repeat the questions asked by members. I just want to say that after I've heard for 2 hours, the hearing for 2 hours, I want to point out certain observations. I want to see whether you agree with it or not. Now, in your submission, it seems that the problem is with the recommendation of lawyers. Now, it was said that the MTLCL was very experienced. There was a sound internal management system. Therefore, it was proposed that the checker system would be okay. The government didn't need to intervene directly or to be involved directly. Therefore, the government adopted the present approach. I am not able to find out the right name. Yes, the concession approach is an entirely new mechanism. There is no duty or responsibility given to the RDO nor the highways to interfere or to intervene. You are only purely a monitoring party. You didn't know you were kept in the dark. That was my impression until you saw the IBC report that you didn't know you were kept from certain information. You were cheated by somebody. Chairman, in the early part of this hearing, I asked the Director of Highways, did the Highways Department ever feel that the express rail would be completed on time within budget was the responsibility of the director or of the Highways Department? The director said it was because he was the controller. But according to what we heard and according to the papers, it seems that the system doesn't allow you. And I really don't understand this. So can you explain to me this conflict or contradiction? Now, in the design, it is a kind of check the checker system. Before the setting up of the system, this is a before the system is set up, this is a new approach, and the consultant was commissioned, and the consultant lawyers made the recommendation to avoid duplication of efforts. The works were entrusted to the MTRCL, and according to previous experience, the MTRCL in handling other railway projects had good track records. Therefore, having looked into the internal system of the MTRCL in implementing projects, it was found that it was quite okay. It was quite good, and therefore the proposed approach was adopted. In the future, if a concession approach is adopted, we should learn lessons and conduct a review. Now, the PGE, if you said that it was the projects of the Highways Department, it would not have been monitored in that way. It seems that the system is at fault. The MTRCL has not done its duty to disclose information. That is my impression. So the responsibility is with the MTRCL. Is it the case? There is another observation. Generally, we rely on the MTRCL to provide a timetable, the comparison progress, and whether it can complete the projects in time. The Highways Department will give its comments. When there is a delay or slippage, if the MTRCL is to introduce DRMs, under what circumstances will that be caught up? Or will the catch-up be successful? There may be different views from time to time, but we are all professional engineers. Under such circumstances, it is not appropriate for us to comment on the MTRCL. We can only give our views to the MTRCL. That's the whole system. So it's the fault of the system, not the fault of non-human errors. According to the documents, in the process, the MTRCL has not given you a master schedule. The whole project was divided into 40 smaller projects, and you didn't see the critical path, according to the report. As the monitoring party, how can you go without a master program or a critical path? As the monitoring party on day one, you didn't discover that there is such a thing missing. Don't you think it is negligent with regard to implementing the project? There should be a master plan, and there should be a critical path in the master plan. As for the observation of the IEP, what is missing is the integrated master plan. This is the putting of all the projects into an integrated computer program. And in the integrated program, one can see the critical path. If there is any delay, if there is any change in sequencing, then according to the critical path, whether there will be a delay beyond end of 2015. As far as I know, the MTRCL doesn't have an integrated master plan. But they do have a master layout plan or master plan. And then in each contract, it has its own timetable. Now they have the track-related installation program. The track installation program has a table to show which project should be done first, which should be done later. Say, for example, boring tunnels, laying tracks, installing the network. We know that we have this, and under what circumstances the critical path will lead to the delay beyond the target. At a certain point, the MTRCL said that it was unable to complete everything in 2015. There was a timetable. Just one more question, one more point. Now, the PGD doesn't agree with the view of the IEP, i.e., there was no master plan, or there were which didn't show the critical path. You only say that there was no integrated program. But if it is a master schedule, it must be integrated. It cannot be bits and pieces. There should be another program which can see this. A supplementary question concerning the concession approach or concession, concerning the terms of the concession. Now, have you decided on, is there any decision on the terms of the concession? Is there any concession agreement? The MTRCL helps you in supervising the project. In the future, they will be given the concession. The terms of the concession has not been decided. No, not for the moment. Mr. Li Chao, again, a follow-up question. In the whole process, seems that you are slow, very slow in knowing. It is only when the MTRCL told you that it was not able to catch up for the delay, then you say, oh, you were not able to catch up for the delay. Now, it seems that it all boils down to the system. Yes, there is the problem with the system, but in the whole process, in terms of your alertness, in terms of your awareness, it seems that it is very low. You just take the MTRCL's words for it. The MTRCL says that they can catch up, and then you trust them. This may not be the case. Maybe you just look at the plan, you know that is not true, but it's not appropriate for you to speak out. It will cause a PR crisis, and you're afraid of that. I want to ask, from a perspective of a professional engineer, you stress that. Do you have such a low awareness, such low alertness that you only know it when the MTRCL told you that they were unable to catch up, or rather before that, when the MNV consultants discussed the matter with you, you had already known that they were not able to catch up. Tell us the truth. What exactly is the case? Now, to answer Mr. Lee's question, Mr. Chairman, the member said that we just took the MTRCL's words for it. That is not the true situation. With regard to the project, we heard the report of the MTRCL at the PCM. We knew there was delay. We urged them to catch up. We urged them to give a new timetable. That was our assessment. If they were unable to achieve the target, they should give us a timetable. The MTRCL said that they could catch up. We trust them. That's a judgment. That's a matter of judgment. They might have a new timetable. They made a projection, and they said that they could complete it on time. But we might have a different view. But different professional engineers would have different views. What was lacking was that the MTRCL was the owner. The MTRCL is the owner, and the contractors are the contractors. And the owner has the duty to ask the contractors to complete the works and force the contractors to catch up. The MTLCL is able to know the resources available to the contractors. If the contractors are unable to cope, then the MTLCL will either replace the contractors or force the contractors to catch up. The attitude of the contractors is very important. Will the contractors work with the MTLCL and catch up, or the contractors will just slow down and wait for the claims? It's only the MTLCL which is able to understand. Our team is unable to know this. This is something missing on our part. We don't have the information. We really don't know whether definitely the MTLCL would not be able to do that. No, you don't have these conditions.
But just now you seem to say that we're not trusting them 100%. It seems that you have different versions, and you believe that you don't have the means to intervene. But why can't you intervene by talking to the MTLCL, telling the contractor that we don't think you'll be able to catch up? Have you expressed your opinion? Well, the other side makes a version. Then have you raised any objection? Have you give a counter version? Have you negotiated with them? I think at the PSC we discussed the matter. That is, the MTLCL would strive to implement DRMs to see on a monthly basis whether there would be further delays. We discussed that, and we did tell the MTLCL this. We are doubtful whether you can fulfill what you set out to do, so give us a timetable, how you're going to compress your work. We ask for a timetable. So we gave this suggestion to the MTLCL. We made this request. So after November 2013, we have been asking the MTLCL to give us new timetable, a new timetable. Not just to avoid pushing back the completion date to 2016 or 17, but to make them compress a construction timetable such that for individual contracts they could be completed in time for the completion date in 2015 to be fulfilled. And just now you mentioned that in fact the MTLCL implemented DRMs, including buying another machine. Have you given them do you have a list of things? For example, that some things undertaken by the MTLCL have been done, some have not. Do you have this list for internal reference so that we also know something about it? This is the purpose of today's hearing. We want to know whether the system is at fault, or has it to do with the MTLCL's operation, or has it to do with the supervision? At the outset, you asked the chairman asked you whether there have been slippage, and you said no. But as we go along, it seems that things haven't been smooth. There have been blunders. So I asked a specific question on facts, and you can tell me whether there has been any blunders in your supervision or monitoring effort? Have you given any suggestions to the MTLCL which have not been followed? And then you can say, in general, in terms of the whole monitoring mechanism, whether there have been errors. To answer Mr. Lee's question, in short, we give the MTLCL our comments, but we don't make a list of comments that either have or have not been accepted by the MTLCL. For example, we have made a suggestion on a timetable, and we did that through the PCG. Or perhaps we ask for DRMs to be implemented to catch up with the progress, and again, this is done through the PCG, and it's documented. But have you all along been monitoring it? Because you say that there is documentation, but it seems that you missed the final step. You have made some suggestions, but you don't know the outcome. You don't have a list to check whether your counterpart has followed your orders. So in fact, there is no conclusion in the end. Or I don't know whether it is the case that because of latest developments, this no longer applies. But you don't have a list for review. But anyway, please answer the chairman's question in the beginning. There seems to be a lot of problems. The PCG has papers, and whether they accept our suggestions or not.
呢個問題之後咧，係我哋係一個叫關注表，即係我哋將個問題咧擠翻落個關注表度。個關注表咧就係一路擺喺度嘅，即係話我哋會同港鐵公司都有研究，喂你邊個問題係我哋有所關注嘅時候咧，係一路繼續跟進，直至到跟進咧，直至到我哋覺得係滿意為止。咁所以我哋係對呢個問題有跟進。我知剛才答阿李議員所話，我冇寫低個文件咧，就係冇一個特別嘅文件寫低，話就住我哋個別提出嘅意見，而佢冇接納，我係冇呢個。唔係
就係呢個問題啦，即係既然你哋最後冇呢個文件啦，但係起碼我覺得主席可以做到一樣嘢咧，你哋其實內部可以做一樣嘢咧，就係你自己有一個嘅即係意見，有一個跟進，然後有一個關注表，最後佢做唔做到關注表啲嘢？照計你哋自己可以做翻出嚟睇到嘅喎。頭先你哋淨係隱惡揚善就話佢有做到啲咩嘢，但你冇講到話即刻講冇，完全冇答到佢冇做到啲乜嘢，你完全冇嘅。咁可唔可以俾翻我哋呢個委員會一份好清楚嘅就係有咩意見佢冇做到嘅，你關注嘅嘢根本佢冇跟進到，有冇呢？
係關注表我哋有㗎，但係即係就住話特別話邊啲我哋俾咗意見而佢冇去跟進嗰啲咧，嗰個我哋就冇啦。咁或者呢個咧係李議員嘅意見咧，我哋會翻去作出檢討。
咁係咪甩漏咧？監察制度就甩漏喺度，根本就關注咗之後就冇跟進，亦都係冇俾壓力港鐵係真係去跟進翻你啲意見嚇。
呢個睇下大家各位對甩漏呢個字係點樣演繹咯。我哋係即係對於個港鐵公司要跟進嘅事情咧，我哋喺關注表一路有跟進嘅。
係好第二輪第一位係5分鐘每位5分鐘得兩位第二輪發問嘅就係鄧家彪議員同胡志偉議員。但係就我會揸得幾，因為時間問題，我會揸得幾個5分鐘，我會揸得幾緊嘅。咁就鄧家彪議員先發問。
OK， 即係當然幾個鐘都係講有冇甩漏啊。 係咪做到監察嘅本分，定係配合啊？但係我諗喺個對答嘅內容裏面，我哋都係聽到你哋係同意承認咧，港鐵咧並冇全部將最關鍵嘅資料咧交俾你哋。我一直都聽到呢樣。咁我就留意喺你哋嗰個陳述書裏面咧，去翻最基本上面你哋嘅即係對於即係個協議嘅睇法，就係第10點。港鐵公司在行事上如有任何錯誤或遺漏，以致構成違反第2份委託協議呢，佢就要負責啦，甚至港鐵公司要自費去做一啲嘢，即係執翻個工程。我想問呢，咁喺第10點所講咁緊要嘅內容上面呢，呢個遺漏，你哋有冇係審視翻緊港鐵遺漏一啲應該交俾你文件又冇交，係構成咗呢係違反第2份委託協議裏面嘅要求呢？唔該。
第二，就住港鐵公司係需要對任何嘅錯誤或遺漏呢，係引致有任何嘅損失呢，佢應該係自行負責嘅。呢個係呢個陳述書裏面所講嘅。咁其實喺個委託協議裏邊呢，都係咁寫嘅，就係港鐵公司呢係應該做到一個competent 或者係即係能幹嘅一個管理人員嘅。咁至於佢話佢有冇遺漏呢？呢個情況呢，我應該係不作任何評論，因為我哋係應該係仍然呢係對港鐵公司所做嘅事情呢係保留個權利，係如果有需要嘅呢係作出一個申訴。
咁即係話，你哋喺過去幾年嘅工作裏面，你哋有冇貫徹你第10點所講，時刻警惕港鐵有否遺漏提交重要文件？你哋會唔會係做呢個工作，時刻去做呢個工作？或者爆咗鑊啦！14年4月，你哋有全盤去睇有冇遺漏，定係去到今日你哋都冇？
陳生，
如果我自己演繹時刻呢個時候咧，即係其實我哋係講緊呢個我哋個 PCG 嗰個監管委員會，即係我哋每個月都會同港鐵公司咧係開會，係檢討一個關於呢個報告，睇下佢哋個進度如何。我哋有任何嘅特別嘅事情咧，都會喺個會上咧係由處長主持嘅會議裏邊咧係去處理嘅。咁所以呢個係我哋有做到呢個動作嘅。
但係即係話你哋係並冇咧，雖然你哋都同意港鐵咧收埋啲嘢，唔將全盤最重要嘅文件交俾你哋，但係你哋咧就唔會咧係檢視究竟佢收埋啲乜嘢，以及會唔會係違反呢個委託協議？你哋係並冇做呢個檢視。陳生，
就住一個咁大型嘅鐵路項目啦，有超過40份以上嘅重大嘅合約啦，咁裏邊真係事實上係多多少少有好多嘅文件嘅。咁你話路政署係咪可以能夠全部檢視晒佢所有文件，話而作出一個咁嘅決定，話港鐵公司咧係對啲文件咧有所遺漏？我諗呢個係實際上係做唔到嘅，呢個應該做唔到嘅。咁所以我哋即係我剛才所指出嘅係港鐵公司係有部分嘅意見咧係冇向我哋詳盡交代咧。咁呢個都係嚟自港鐵公司提交俾鐵路事宜小組委員會5月5號嗰個文件裏邊，我先睇得到出嚟。
咁所以就係，既然佢自己承認咗，你哋有冇做一個全盤嘅檢視？如果唔係，你點樣處理政府同港鐵之間究竟有冇違反協議去追究責任嘅一個重大問題？咁你哋而家有冇做呢個預備呢？
呢個我哋會翻嚟再檢討一下。
好，下一位係胡志偉議員。
多謝主席。根據委託協議書咧，其實政府係有權向港鐵係索取一切所需嘅資料咧，以供呢個路政署進行呢個監察嘅工作嘅。我想問下，路政署有冇盡力去攞得所有嘅呢啲工程嘅資料，去協助你嘅監察工作呢？
主席，我諗喺個協議裏邊，如果講到係即係可以向港鐵公司索取一切嘅資料咧，我諗係一個比較概括性嘅一個詞語嚟嘅，即係話可能係有啲唔同嘅文件啦，我哋都希望能夠即係如果有需要咧，都能夠向港鐵公司能夠索取。你話 例如咧，我哋見到咧就係話監核顧問喺地盤嘅檢視或者審核嘅過程裏邊咧，佢哋係需要同港鐵公司咧係索取一啲資料嘅。咁呢個制度裏邊咧，我哋係有嘅，我哋係適時地去向港鐵公司咧係要求索取一啲資料作為呢個審核之用嘅。咁變咗，因為佢係喺唔同嘅合約裏邊咧係有各自嘅審核啦。我哋審核咧包括呢個即係安全啊。
換言之咧，就係路政署係冇試過咧，係你去問佢攞，係攞唔到任何資料嘅。
基本上係我哋問佢攞嘅咧，佢都願意俾我哋嘅。
咁但係如果你唔問嘅話
Well, if you didn't ask, then they didn't give you the information. It depends on what sort of information that was pertaining to the contract, the monitoring system that was useful. And then if it was, then we raised it with the MTLCL. Say, for example, in the verification process, we did this. According to the DHY, basing on the information obtained, he could not independently decide whether the WKT would be able to meet the original target. The Director of Highways, in considering this, should have considered that with suitable information he could make an assessment. But the Director of Highways didn't ask for more information from the MTLCL to assist him in making the decision. Is it the case? What is your view? Well, I can put it this way. As I said earlier, whether the MTLCL was not able to give us more information so that we can assess whether the project could be completed on time in 2015, that is something dependent on how much the MTLCL knew about the contractors in terms of their in terms of their capabilities, the resources, their intention or purpose to complete the project. We didn't have the information. But you didn't ask the MTLCL for such information to assist you in making the assessment, did you? The attitude of the contractors, of course, would certainly affect the progress of works. On this point, in the submission, you can see that at the end of 2013, in each PSC meeting, the PGE had been asking for the MTLC to provide us a timetable, the amended timetable. From the timetable, we then can see the progress. Now, in October 2013, the MTLCL asked the contractors whether they could complete the project in time. Then it took the contractors 5 months to report in February 2014. The works were complicated, and even the contractors had to spend such a long time to collect the information. We had to have adequate information to make an assessment. If we wanted more information from the contractors, we could ask the MTLCL to provide the information. I want to ask this with regard to variation and its arrangement. Concerning large projects, if there is any variation, would the prior approval of the Highways Department be necessary before variation could be implemented? And also the cost involved in the variation. With regard to large projects, would that generally be taken up by the government in the budget? If it is not enough, then further funding would be necessary and agreement of the government would be necessary. Mr. Chan, concerning variation of design, according to our experience, variation is the responsibility of the owner. So it is the MTLCL who is responsible. The MTLCL is not the owner. Maybe this identity will have to be clarified. In the past, if a contract is entered into between the owner and the contractor, now the MTLCL represents the owner. The MTLCL represents the owner. So we should be responsible, but with regard to variation, if money is involved, the PCG approval is necessary, and the document has to be given to the Highways Department, and then the Highways Department will give comments. We'll consider the amount, whether it would exceed the contingency amount. They should not exceed the contingency amount. The MTRCL has the power to do that. I want to ask for two pieces of information with regard to the variation of design, with regard to the variations, and also the project costs. Can the information be provided? I want to also confirm the following. The PGE says that they are only responsible for giving comments on variation. They have not voiced objections. Does it mean that they agree if they don't voice any objection? Mr. Chan, as for Mr. Wu's request for the information concerning money or cost, I want to ask the chairman. This select committee is considering delay and background. Is it relevant to the amount? There are two ideas here. One is about something in April last year and then till now. Because of the delay in April last year leading to a difference in amounts of money, say for example with regard to DRMs, they are within the scope of that, but after that it is outside the scope of the select committee. Mr. Wu referred to the delay in April last year. If that's the case, then upon Mr. Wu's request, we can consider how we can provide that. If no objection, does it mean agree? It depends on the circumstances. It's up to different interpretation. Can you repeat that? Mr. Wu asked whether no objection means agree. It depends on how you interpret this. We don't object to they do it, then the MTRCL will continue to do that. We are responsible for giving comments. I don't ask you for further interpretation because it will involve legal matters. I think we will adjourn here. I'd like to thank Mr. Chan and Mr. Tam for attending our hearing. If need be, I hope not. If need be, we'll invite you again to attend the hearing. You may now be excused. Would members move to room 4 to continue the meeting?